Hey, Michael Brown here. I'm going to do a quick demo with my 3D rig, at least show you how I process the stereo images. So this is my rig. It has two Sony RX0 Mark II cameras. It's on this plate, and I can actually use the cameras close together, or I can slide them apart if I want to photograph something a little further away. The cameras are synchronized with this little cable, and so when I fire camera 1, camera 2 fires in sync. Then there's a little flip up screen in the back, so I can look down at the picture or the viewfinder if I require. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download pictures from these two cameras. I'll plug the camera into my computer using its micro USB port, and then I'm going to turn on the left camera, and on the computer there's a little untitled disk that shows up, and within the DCIM folder is a subfolder, and that contains all my pictures. Now this says there's 73 frames here. I'm going to make a new folder on the desktop, and I'm going to call that left frames, or just left, I guess is fine. And then we'll open that up, grab all my images, and put those in there. Now the files I have from this camera are in RAW format. You can shoot the camera in JPEG. I just prefer to use RAW in case I have to do any color correction or changing of exposure values. Okay, that's done. I'll make a second folder. I'll call that one right, for the right frames. I'll open that up. Now I'll eject the Sony drive, turn off the camera, I'll plug it into the right camera, turn on the right camera, which they have, open up DCIM, open up the subfolder, do Command A, select all the images, and drag all those into the right folder. At this point I don't need these anymore. So I process the pictures in a program called StereoPhotoMaker. It's a Windows PC program. It works with JPEG files. It doesn't use RAW files. So the first thing I'm going to do is rename these files and then convert the RAWs to JPEG. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is use the Bridge software program, and I want to look on my desktop, find the left folder, and it has 73 pictures in it, and I want to rename them. So I'm going to go Tool, Batch Rename. I actually want to come up with a sequence number beginning with 1. I'll use the 3-digit option. And then I'll make some text. It says _ left. And that would give me a file that says 001._left. What I sometimes like to do is also put the date in the file name. So I'm going to come over here to date and time. I'll put another underscore after the L. And the date it was created, I'm going to change that over to year, month, day. It's just easier if I have to sort with the computer looking for a specific year. Alright, so I have 73 pictures from the left folder that will be processed with a file name, the _L, and the date the picture was taken. Let's rename those. We'll do something to the right folder. Go batch rename. We're going to change this. That 74 is going to go to 1. This L is going to go to R. And I'm going to hit rename. All right, so now I have those renamed. I'm going to put them all in one folder. Grab all these, slide them in there. I'm going to delete the left folder. I'm going to rename the right folder. "3D raw pairs." Okay. So when we look at these on screen, you can see I have frame 001 left, frame 001 right. So that's just perfect. Note, what I want to do is bring those into Photoshop and convert them to JPEGs. So I'm going to go back to my desktop. I'm going to pick the 3D raw pairs. Here they are. I'm going to grab them all, open them in Camera Raw. Now at this point I could go through and color correct them, adjust white balance, make any changes, but for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm just going to process them as they came right from the camera. So I'm going to grab all of those, go download. Let's erase that. Perfect. So now I'm going to select a folder, go to the desktop, go new folder, 3D JPEGs. And we'll keep them in that folder. So let's see, they'll maintain their file name. They will be in JPEG format, quality of 10. That will be fine. Color space sGRB, sRGB, that'll be fine. Wants to sharpen for screen, I don't mind that. We'll just save those. So there's a little progress bar at the bottom. It's taking hardly any time. In fact, it's almost done. So our raw files are now converted to JPEG. Now if you wanted, you could just shoot JPEG in the first place and not even have to do this whole process. All right, let's close that. Let's bring up Windows with StereoPhotoMaker. All right, StereoPhotoMaker. Double click that. This comes up. We want to go File, Open Left Right Images. We're going to go to the desktop folder, find our JPEGs, 3D JPEGs I think is what I called that. Yes, there they are, number 1 left, number 1 right, so forth. So we're going to open that up. And we're going to open up the second one. And here they are. So if you have red blue glasses, you can put StereoPhotoMaker into 3D mode. We put the glasses on and go, whoa, that looks crazy. Cameras aren't really aligned. The stereo window's not set, all sorts of issues. So all we have to do is go over here to Auto, and that will take standard parameters and adjust things. If the cameras were crooked, it will fix that. You can see on this window there was a slight amount of rotation that occurred, and it changed the pixels both vertically and horizontally. So now when you look at this, it's like, oh yeah, that looks much better. All the imagery is behind the stereo window, things are aligned. It's just a much better 3D picture. So hit close. Now we could go through and do that to every single stereo pair individually, but what's easier is actually to come over here and go to multi-job. So here we can do a multi-conversion. Here's our folder of images. The images that we have in this folder are independent left-right images, so we select that. The file type I want for output will be side-by-side JPEGs. If you want, maybe you're using a headset and you want MPO files, you can do that as well, but I'm just going to pick JPEG. I'm going to have it do the auto alignment, auto crop after alignment. I'm not going to do any of these other editing things. I do want to switch my folder. I want to put those on the desktop in a folder called From SPM, which hopefully is empty. Let's just find out. Nope, all sorts of things in there. All right, let's not use that folder. I must have used that for something else recently. Let's make another folder called V2 from SPM. All right, let's go back. Let's browse. Let's go to V2 from SPM and pick that folder. All right, so I'll just double check. I have all of my images here. They're going to output as side-by-side JPEGs, and I have independent right left as input, and we're saving them as in the V2 from SPM folder. Good. So now I will hit convert all files. It says, do you want to convert the 146 JPEGs and save to the folder V2 from SPM? Do you want to start? Yes. Do you want to use the previous report file? The report files from that first image it corrected. I don't need to use that. I'll just let it redo it. Now, this process is going to take about 5 minutes, so I'm going to cut the weight out of this video. All right, we're back. So total processing time was 531 milliseconds. Let's go File, Open Stereo Image. We'll go to our V2 folder. And let's see, let's open a different one, just for variety's sake. Let's do this. All right, so here's a side-by-side. If we want, we can view that as anaglyph, black and white color. We can do, you know, red, green, red, blue. We can do color anaglyph, like so. But for me, I always like using the black and white. It seems to be the clearest. All right, so I look at that. Looks very nice. Very nice indeed. I like to post my stereo pairs on Facebook from time to time, and a lot of people can view in parallel. That's my preferred way of viewing, and other people want to view them cross-eyed. So if you have your two images, you switch them, and if you want to do that, you can do a couple things. One, right here, I could just hit the switch button, and that would make the left right and the right left. Or I can come here and go save universal view and save universal left right right left. And then I will put this on the desktop, and I'll call that universal, and hit save. And now that that's saved, I'll open that in Photoshop, and here we go. So the top pair is for parallel viewing, and the bottom pair is for cross-eyed viewing. Now here we have that anaglyph on screen. We can go save stereo image, and here we'll go take that universal out and put NG and PH anaglyph. Save that to the desktop. Open that in Photoshop, and there it is. Now you can use your glasses, or you can print it out and view with glasses. So that's pretty much how I use StereoMaker to take pictures from my dual camera rig and present them as side-by-side pairs. One other option it has is you can save them in the MPO format. That's sometimes nice if you just want to put them into a 3D headset like the Oculus, which I love viewing my 3D stereo pairs on the Oculus headset. So with that, I think that concludes this little demo/tutorial.